morning, everyone. I see our recording has started message. So I want to welcome everyone to our weekly community update. This is Commissioner Dave Yamamoto. Today is Tuesday, October 18, 2022, and we will call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. But before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to please mute your phones. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak. Again, pressing *6. It is very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you so much. So again, I want to welcome everyone to our weekly Board of Commissioners community update. Let's start with the Commissioners roll call. Commissioner Scar, are you with us?
I am with you this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. And Commissioner Bell?
I believe she is still attending her Tuesday morning class.
Sorry, I thought maybe that was over. I think got this one as her last one.
I think that may be correct.
We will see. Thank you for updating me. So, as we always do, let's start right off with Adventist Health Tillamook. Eric Swanson. Eric, are you with us?
I am, Commissioner. Good morning.
Good morning.
We have a busy day around the hospital today. 17 inpatients today. We have less COVID patients admitted. 11 surgery cases are scheduled today. All are elective or non-urgent. Our ambulance crews transported 3 911 transports yesterday, 1 transfer, no transports home. We have no patients boarding in the emergency department. COVID-19 update. Again, the state is only updating it now once a week, so this is from October 12th. And the number of hospitalized patients with COVID-19 across Oregon is 248, 1 less than yesterday. 9 COVID-19 patients in intensive care unit beds, 1 less than yesterday, 8 are on ventilators. 2.8% of all emergency department visits across Oregon were for COVID-like illnesses. That's 4,550 total emergency department visits across Oregon yesterday. There are currently 30 available adult ICU beds out of 338 total. That's 9% availability for Region 1, and 94 available adult non-ICU beds out of 1,881, or 5% availability. On October 14th, Dr. Peter Draven gave his update on the COVID forecast, and hospitalizations are increasing throughout most of Europe and in New England. But in Oregon, as of October 12th, 248 people are hospitalized in Oregon, and that number has been relatively flat for the past 4 weeks. Influenza has continued to increase, suggesting an early flu season. Forecasts vary significantly, but it's likely that people will be hospitalized at a rate similar to before COVID-19. Visits to the emergency department for COVID-like illness have flattened. Test positivity is flattened, and the number of hospitalized children is 9 as of October 13th. The COVID forecast is very similar to the most recent forecast. A peak is expected mid-December at 630 beds. And a pattern of increases in Europe and the U.S. suggests that increased spread is driven more by seasonal factors than waning immunity. And so that's his report from last week. The other thing I want to share with you is that the Joint Commission is a nonprofit organization that accredits more than 22,000 U.S. healthcare organizations and programs. They also have an international branch that accredits medical services around the world. And they have an unannounced visit to us this morning. We've been expecting it. It is a 3-day lab survey. And the Joint Commission has been accrediting laboratories across the United States and hospitals since 1979. And so they'll be here looking at all aspects of our laboratory services, wherever they're provided, in our clinics, in our hospital, in the emergency department, in surgery, and in the lab itself. And the lab survey is pretty intense. There's more than 1,700 standards that we have to comply with. And so I am going to, as soon as I'm done with this report, I jump off this call and go get ready for our opening at 8:30. So we anticipate that this will go smoothly for us, and we'll have a good survey this week. So busy week here at Adventist Health Tillamook. So unless you have questions, I'm going to go get ready for a survey.
Eric, thank you so much. I hate to hold you up, but I do. I do want you
Sure.
to expound on one comment that you made, if you would. And I'm not sure I caught it all. You mentioned something to the effect that there were, I believe you were talking about our COVID rates, and you were, or maybe you were talking about influenza, but seasonal factors versus immunity. Can you expound on that just a little bit?
Sure. Let me reread his quote. This is Dr.
Thank you.
Graven's quote. And it says that influenza has continued to increase, suggesting an early. Oh no, that's not the right quote. Sorry. let me find the right one. Give me a second here.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
No. This is totally fine. Here it is. The pattern of increases in Europe and the U.S. suggests that increased spread, and he's talking about COVID, is driven more by seasonal factors than waning immunity. And than waning immunity. And I'm not a scientist like Dr. Graven is. But my assumption is that seasonal factors are things like the weather's going to get colder. I hear the rain's coming, and we tend to have more colds during winter months, and those I would consider seasonal factors that are going to affect people coming down with COVID, rather than their immunity is waning. Does that make any sense?
It does, and I'm sure another factor there is going to be that as the weather gets wet and cold, people remain indoors closer together more.
Sure. Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot more indoor activities, right? I mean, I won't be golfing like I was on Sunday. I would like to be golfing, but I won't be. So
there you go. Eric, I appreciate that very much. I really do. And do we have any other questions for Eric Swanson? Eric, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks, Al. You guys have a great day.
Thank you so much. So let's move on to the Coastal Caucus. I saw that we have Representative Weber and Representative Gomberg with us. I do not know if we have Senator Anderson or Senator Armitage, so let's just turn it over to the Coastal Caucus.
Good morning. It's Suzanne. It's nice to be here. And I'd like to comment on Eric's report also. It's amazing how many people that stayed so well and so safe throughout the whole pandemic are now succumbing to COVID. And some of them are having, a serious illness event, and some of them it's just no more than a cold. But I have been amazed at how many people in all of this wonderful weather have been having the COVID experience. And a lot of them have been traveling and come home and all of a sudden get sick. And, there's something to be said for masks and staying safe. So thank you, Eric, for your report. I also want to thank the organizers of the Harvest Festival downtown Tillamook this last weekend. To see the plaza being used as it was intended initially is so gratifying. There were lots of people out, lots of children's activities. I managed to get a couple of Christmas presents, and I appreciated that. I also want to reiterate that today is the 18th, and your vote is very important, and this is the last day to register to vote. And according to the Secretary of State, you can go online, and it can take you no less than 3 minutes to accomplish that. So if you want your voice heard, you need to register to vote, because the ballots will be coming out soon. And it's important. It's like if you vote, you have complaining rights. If you don't vote, you have no rights to complain. So remember that, please. And another event that I haven't heard a lot about, but last week we had an earthquake in Oregon. And it was not a major one, but we have these on a regular basis. And the Great Shakeout, which we have celebrated in the past, is going to be on October 20th. So I think it's time that we also take stock of how we are going to respond to whatever happens with an earthquake or a tsunami that happens in this. It's time to refresh. It's time to look at your supplies. It's time to take stock of what you've got, where you're going, freshen up. Make sure that you're ready in case that happens here. Last week we had the Coastal Caucus and had a very interesting report to us on the fish health up and down the coast. It pointed out that Oregon is definitely doing a lot, and we are going to be influenced by what's happening in California, which is not so positive, what's happening in Washington, which is also not so positive, and the threats that are coming to Alaska and fishing. I also attended the meeting of the Joint Task Force on addressing racial disparities in housing, and there is a final recommendation that is coming that is multifaceted. There were 12 recommendations that were going to be going forward to the legislature concerning that. So I'm not going to address each one of them, but you can go online to the Joint Task Force and see those to see how that is going to be addressed in the state. And with that, I think I'm going to once again highlight that November 5th is coming, and we have a wonderful opportunity to celebrate the Swiss heritage of this region on that weekend with all of the activities that are being planned for celebrating the Swiss. And so look it up online, look it up on Facebook, and be ready to, get your dirndls and your vests and your Edelweiss pins out and go and enjoy the weekend. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, KTIL.
It'll be a fun time for all. Representative Gomberg.
Well, good morning, Commissioners, and good morning, Tillamook County. Pleased to be with you, and sorry to have missed you last week. I don't do that very often. The good representative from District 32 mentioned that today is the last day to register to vote, but I want to highlight that because it's also the last opportunity to change your voter registration here in Oregon. Perhaps you're already registered to vote, as most people are in this state, but you've recently moved your address, perhaps to Tillamook County or to a different location in Tillamook County, and so you may want to update that today to make sure that you get a ballot that reflects where you actually live. So you can vote for county commissioners, you can vote for state representative or state senator, you can vote for your local city council rather than getting a ballot in the mail from someplace you used to live at. So please do note that change and make an update for the end of business today on the Secretary of State's webpage. Representative Weber also mentioned our Coastal Caucus meeting last week, and yes, we did talk about the state of coastal fisheries. We also talked about the petitions from the Oregon Dairy Farmers Association dealing with dairy air. I always like that phrasing when I see it on reports, the dairy air update. We got information from on marine reserves and the 10-year review of that initiative here in the Oregon, and also talking about wastewater updates up and down the coast. So it was a very busy meeting with a lot of activity crammed into about a 90-minute session. Commissioners, I wanted to highlight for you a report that I detailed in my weekly newsletter yesterday. And it's a statewide report called Oregon by the Numbers, which is produced by the Oregon State University Extension Service and the Ford Foundation. By the way, the Ford Foundation is not an extension of the motor car company. Excuse me, Eric was talking about seasonal health issues, and I seem to have one. In any event, the Ford Foundation is not the motor car company. It's actually an Oregon-based company that deals with rural issues and support for rural concerns. So they put out this report called Oregon by the Numbers, trying to detail statistics on a county-by-county basis across the state. It's fascinating reading for those of us that are interested in in what our current circumstances are, how do we compare to other parts of the state, and what our greatest challenges are and the need to address them. I just want to highlight a couple of things in here. First of all, voter participation in Tillamook County seems to be exactly on line with the rest of the state, actually a hair higher at 82.8%. So people do turn out to vote in Tillamook County. Again, today's the day if you want to update that number. One of the other things in here they reference is the crime index. That's major crimes per 1,000 people in the county. That number in Tillamook County was 27.7 major crimes per 1,000 people, compared to Multnomah County, where that number is over 50%. So we're hovering about half the major crime rate that they suffer in the Portland area, which is why we often hear about crime issues from our friends in Portland, especially when they're out here visiting us on the coast. Our 5-year graduation rate is also slightly better than Portland is. We're at 88.4%. Portland is at 82%. The statewide average about 83%. So we're doing a little bit better than other parts of the state in getting kids a high school diploma. Our unemployment rate continues to be a challenge. We're at about 8%, just down south in Lincoln County. That's close to 11%. The statewide average is 7.5%. So we continue to hover above the statewide average of employment, even though we've got help wanted signs everywhere. A serious issue, I don't have to tell you, is child care. The number of slots per 100 children in Tillamook County is about 7. If you were living in Portland right now, there are 22 slots available for every 100 children. So we've got some dire work ahead of us to try and make sure that families that have children can find a place to have those children cared for. Finally, something I find very interesting is we often argue that in rural communities we have to drive more than they do in the big cities to get to work, to go shopping, to get to school. The average person in Tillamook County, driving 9,000 miles per year. If you were living in Portland, the average is about 3,000 miles per year. I often use these numbers to illustrate that there are unique challenges in our rural communities, and while most of the votes and most of the legislators in Oregon come from the major population centers, we need strong voices out here on the coast to communicate our needs and to make sure that the benefits of Oregon, the dollars in Oregon, the attention in Oregon comes to our part of Oregon. If you look at Oregon by the numbers, it really highlights a number of those concerns, and I'd encourage anybody to take a look at my newsletter, see the link, or just look up this report. Again, it's called Oregon by the Numbers. If you need a copy of it, please do. Excuse me. Let me know, and we'll get you a link to that. So, Eric, thanks for explaining why I'm coughing this morning, and I am taking some medication. I'm also tested, and don't worry, it's a fall cough, not a COVID cough. And I'll look forward to seeing all of you out and about in Tillamook and Lincoln counties in the coming days. Commissioners, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them.
Representative Gomberg and Representative Weber, thank you so much for being here. And I did receive a copy of the Ford Family Foundation Oregon by the Numbers book. Haven't had a chance to go through it yet, but it is, as you mentioned, Representative Gomberg, it is fascinating reading. The tidbits that you can pull out of there, it's really great. So, appreciate that very much. Do we have any questions or comments by anyone else or our Coastal Caucus members?
Chair Yamamoto?
Yes.
Hi, this is Cassie O'Neill, Tillamook County Clerk.
Hey, good morning, Cassie.
Good morning. I just wanted to comment, thank you for the reference to the election for the November 8th election day that's coming up. Today is the last day to register to vote for new voters. If you are active or inactive within the state of Oregon, you can actually update all the way through election day and still get a ballot. The problem with that is waiting till the last minute to get your ballot may make it challenging to get the ballot to you. So the best thing to do is if you think you've moved, to go on and update or come into our office to update. And even the sooner the better, as the regular ballots will be mailed out the 19th of this week. I believe most folks have probably received their voter pamphlet in the mail. Those go out from the Secretary of State and they are mailed to each residence address. Even if you received one of those in the mail, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are registered to vote. So if you're concerned, you can go on to the Secretary of State's office. There's a link to check to verify that you're registered to vote. We will have a certification test of the ballot machine on October 28th at 10 a.m. And then we will have through December 5th to certify the results of this election. Postmarks do count. So if you turn in your ballot to a post office and it's postmarked as of election day, we have 7 days to receive those. Also, if anyone has not signed their ballot envelope or their signature does not match, as we do check every signature that is turned in Oregon, those folks have 14 days to get that taken care of, and then those ballots get counted as well. You can turn your ballot in any drop location as well. Within your voting packet, that envelope that you'll get, inside there in your secrecy sleeve, you will have the drop box locations throughout the Tillamook County, as well as there are drop locations throughout the state. You can turn your ballot in any location of those drop sites or county clerk's office within the state, and we are required by law to send those to the other counties within a timely manner in a trackable mailing. So, and if anybody ever has any questions, you can go to our website at www.co.tillamook.or.us and go to departments and clerk and elections. There is a lot of information on there, as well as you can email us at our generic email, clerk@co.tillamook.or.us, or call our office at 503-842-3402. Any question is not a dumb question, and we would rather people call and ask a question if they have concerns rather than worry about it. And I jumped in there and said a lot of things, but I wanted to make it clear on the updating of registrations as well.
Thank you, Kathy.
Appreciate that very much. You know, Commissioners, I might close today with a public service announcement. You're going to be getting your ballots very soon, and Election Day is still a couple of weeks away to review those and return them. The big campaigns in Oregon keep track of whether or not you have voted. I mean, they don't know how you voted, but they do know whether or not you've returned your ballot. And as we get closer to Election Day, they will start knocking on doors more and telephoning people who have not yet returned your ballot. So my public service announcement is, if you want to stop getting texts, stop getting phone calls, stop getting visitors on the doorstep, get your ballot back in early. Make sure you voted sooner, and that will relieve the amount of attention that you're getting from people that are trying to influence your decision.
Thank you, Representative Gomberg. Appreciate that public service announcement. That's terrific. Any other questions or concerns for our Coastal Caucus members? Thank you so much for being here. So let's move on to the Tillamook County Community Health Center. Do we have Marlene Putman or Ed Colson with us this morning?
Well, good morning. Commissioner Ed Colson's here with the Health Department.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. So as of October 13th, the impact of COVID-19 disease in the Tillamook County community is low. We have 0 new hospital admissions related to COVID-19 and 1% per 100,000 of staffed inpatient beds occupied by a patient with confirmed COVID-19. Now, we do have 16 new COVID cases within Tillamook County here. So that gives us a test positivity rate of 11.64 recorded over the past week. Now, with the CDC's new measurements, that does put the county spread of COVID-19 within the county at high. So anything over 10% is high. So we just crossed over that mark. So the CDC does provide these measurements per the community levels map tool that helps individuals make decisions about their personal risk and safety. With a low impact of COVID-19 in Tillamook County, the CDC recommended actions include staying up to date with COVID-19 vaccines, get tested if you have symptoms, wear a mask if you have symptoms, a positive test or exposure to someone with COVID-19, wear a mask on public transportation and in healthcare settings, and individuals may also choose to wear a mask at any time as an additional precaution to protect yourself and others. Now, bivalent boosters have now been approved for everyone 5 years old and older, at least 2 months after a prior COVID-19 vaccination. Moderna's pediatric bivalent vaccine is authorized for children ages 6 to 17, and Pfizer for children ages 5 through 11. Updated boosters are our best protection as we move into the fall and winter, as respiratory viruses like COVID-19 typically spread at higher rates. We appreciate everyone's patience as we and other healthcare facilities and pharmacies work with the Oregon Health Authority to receive the updated booster doses. We have placed an order for pediatric Pfizer and hope to have it soon. We do currently have pediatric Moderna, and it will be available at the walk-in vaccine clinics this week in South County. We have a vaccine clinic on Wednesday, the 19th, and Thursday, the 20th, from 3:30 p.m. to 6:30 at the Nestucca Valley K-8 school in the small gym, and that's located in Cloverdale. We do have future Central County clinics, not this Saturday, but Saturday, October 29th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Fairgrounds Convention Center, and that is also DEA Drug Take-Back Day. Monday, November 7th, and Tuesday, November 8th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Fairgrounds Convention Center. And to find other places to get an updated COVID-19 booster near you, please visit getvaccinated.oregon.gov, or you can give 211 a call. Now, also this week, we would like to remind everyone of the Tides of Change event, Shine a Light, that happens on Thursday, October 20th. So please wear purple and join the event downtown in Tillamook at the 2nd Street Plaza at 4:30 in the afternoon. And that is our our community update for the health department. I'll turn it back over to you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Ed. Any questions for Ed Colson? Ed, as always, thanks so much for being here. Let's go to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Gail Nelson, are you with us this morning, Gail?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. At the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy, we will be expanding our hours of operation and are interested in community input and feedback. Please watch for some surveys to collect information and possibly some focus groups. And, of course, our weekly walking groups continue through October every Tuesday at 9. For more information, please visit our website or Facebook page. And in closing, we are here to serve you, including vaccines and tests. If you are interested in scheduling an appointment with one of our medical providers and also behavioral health services providers, please give us a call at 800-368-5182 for more information or to schedule an appointment. So thank you very much.
Gail, thank you as always for being with us this morning. I believe I'm correct here. I don't believe Frank Hannah-Williams with the Tillamook County Counseling Center is with us this morning. Am I correct, Frank? Are you there? I thought I had that right. So let's move on to the Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Brown.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here.
Yes, good morning.
I don't actually have anything major to update right now. There's some things in the works, and we'll be doing press releases, and we'll talk about them as those come up. But as far as this morning is concerned, I don't really have anything that I want to report on. So I can take any questions if anybody has anything burning that they'd like to know. But otherwise, that's all I got for today.
Thank you, Sheriff. Any questions for Sheriff Brown? Sheriff, as always, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Randy, thank you. So Randy Thorpe, our emergency manager, is also not here this morning. He is attending a tabletop exercise, I believe, in the Valley, getting ready for our winter events. So let's go to the Board of Commissioners, and let's start, of course, with Commissioner Scar. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, in the absence of Randy, I will do a quick just shout out on the change of weather that is coming. I think that most of you probably have either seen in whatever weather app you like to follow, or perhaps if you're on the county's email list for weather, you have gotten the notification that there is a severe weather warning that has been posted for this weekend. And last time I was looking at it, the timing was that we expect this warm, sunny weather we've all been enjoying to basically change fairly dramatically starting on Friday. We will have a cold front move in, which will include some rain over the weekend, up to as much as probably 2 inches here on the coast. I don't expect that that's flood related, but it's just to really kind of remind everybody that we're heading into winter. It's arriving, it's going to be cold, it's going to be wet. We'll probably have some winds associated with that. So pick up, put away, tie down things in your yard and just begin to get ready for winter. So that's the first thing I wanted to just chat about. Wanted to let folks know that there is an upcoming housing summit on the North Coast that I'm pleased to be organizing in partnership with the Columbia Pacific CCO, Oregon Housing Community Services, and the Department of Land Conservation and Development. This housing summit will be held in Seaside at the Convention Center on December 6th. That will be an all-day event. Invitations have gone out to city managers, mayors, planning directors, elected officials, major business owners, just kind of a really broad swath of folks, our housing commission, really anyone who's been involved in development of housing in Tillamook County and or Lincoln, Clatsop, and Columbia, because this summit is intended to cover all 4 of those counties and to invite people who've been participating in or would like to participate in the housing development work to come together to hear directly from the state departments what their next steps will be in supporting response if you housing crisis, and then to really talk about what's working on the coast so the 4 counties can share with one another their strategies that are bringing housing to the ground, and we can then hopefully replicate those strategies across all 4 counties by really learning from each other. So that is an exciting opportunity that's coming up in December. Couple other things just to share, things that I am a part of in case you have questions or concerns in the community and you're not sure who to talk to. I sit on the board of the Columbia Pacific CCO, which is Columbia Pacific Coordinated Care Organization, and that is the organization that manages the Oregon Health Plan for Tillamook, Clatsop, and Columbia counties. So if you are a member of the Oregon Health Plan, or if you simply have questions about that particular program, how it works, what the intentions are for going forward, please feel free to reach out as a board member. I'm able to talk with you about that organization and how it interacts in the community if you have questions. They are an amazing funder in our community, putting a lot of grants into our medical system, our social services system, and supporting our housing development. So again, if you have any questions, please do reach out to me. Similarly, I wanted to let folks know that there's some work happening with the Northwest Regional Early Care and Education Sector Committee. This is a committee that is organized through the Regional Education Services District, and there is work being done to assess our local early childhood education and child care resources and to look at what are the barriers. Representative Gomberg brought up this morning that we have a very, very low number of child care and early childhood education spaces in Tillamook County, and that's something that there is work being done to try to expand that. This particular assessment is really going to be looking at what are the barriers, and given the difference that he stated that it's so much worse here in Tillamook County than in other counties, it'll be a great opportunity for us to try to determine what's different here, and how can we impact that in order to expand childcare. We do know some of the main areas are around workforce. We simply don't have early childhood educators available to us. I know that our community college has been working as a partner on trying to expand that. So there's some things that we do know, but this will give us a deeper dive and an opportunity to really seek solution. So just to let folks know that yes, that number is abysmal and there is work being done in Tillamook County on that. And again, if you have questions, you have concerns, you have ideas, don't hesitate to reach out. As your commissioner, that is one of the areas that I represent for the county. One other opportunity that I had last week is we have a local government council that is being reestablished. It is a partnership between the Association of Oregon Counties and OHA and DHS, and it is an opportunity to look at the actions and activities of these state agencies and how they're impacting counties, and to have the opportunity for the leaders of OHA and DHS to sit down and meet with county commissioners, as well as folks, our mental health directors, for example, with OHS. We had them on the call this last week to really talk about, hey, you're establishing this at the state level. These are the rules you're putting out. Here's how they're impacting counties and programs on the ground. This local government advisory council is something that existed in the past, and at some point it just sort of stopped meeting. So we are in the process of reinvigorating that so that we can have a direct line to the directors of those state agencies where we're struggling, where what they are deciding, dictating, rulemaking around are really impacting counties in a negative way. So this will give us an opportunity to have direct input, direct conversation, and ideally have our voices inform what the state agencies are doing. So that was an exciting first meeting that we had. It will now be a monthly meeting that I will also be attending. So lots going on. With that, I will turn it back to Commissioner Yamamoto.
Thank you, Commissioner Scar. I appreciate that very much. So, last week, after our last community call, there were several things that were going on. I am a member of the Salmon Superhighway Executive Steering Committee, and last Tuesday morning, shortly after our community update call, Salmon Superhighway program got a State Land Board Award in Salem, and this was presented by the governor. For those of you that don't know, well, the award went to Salmon Superhighway, but it also went to the Mesocotnesco and Sand Lake Watershed Council for their work on the Cedar Creek hatchery and weir removal on Three Rivers there. And it was one of 4 awards that were given out that day from the State Land Board. Salmon Superhighway. So when it comes to habitat restoration, fish recovery, clean water, our watershed councils do a lot of great work in Tillamook County. The federal government came in about 6 years ago and looked at what Tillamook County was doing, and they wanted to see if federal funding, a different funding stream rather than state funding for our local watershed councils. They wanted to see if they could really make a difference. So they looked all up and down the West Coast. They settled on Tillamook County because of the great work we already do. And so for the past 4 or 5 years, we really have had a new federal stream of dollars coming in for habitat restoration. And it was called Salmon Superhighway. And I'll be very honest with you, it has been just terrific work in South Tillamook County. And so at this point, the federal government is seeing the success, and they want to expand the program. And it looks like they may go down to Coos County now and see if that's going to work. But again, to Salmon Superhighway and to the Mesocotnesco and Sand Lake Watershed Council, congratulations on all your hard work and great work that you've been doing, and all the future work that you're going to continue to do. Last Thursday, and I'm sorry Randy Thorpe isn't with us, but Randy put together our annual winter preparedness meeting, which was held at the Port of Tillamook Bay. It was a great meeting. We had representatives from ODF, Oregon Department of Forestry, and ODOT, and Public Works, and I was there as a commissioner. We had a lot of agencies there, and it was a great meeting. We was kind of on hiatus for the past couple of years because of COVID, but now we're back to in-person, robust meetings, and National Weather Service, of course, provided an update, and they were predicting that somewhere around the 21st of October, we were going to see a major change in weather, and it looks like that is going to happen. The first major winter storms after this beautiful October weather, it looks like it's going to be hitting perhaps this weekend. So the meeting was very timely, and I think we are as prepared as always for our winter storms coming up. So I would also like to talk about your ballots. So when you receive your ballots, and they will be coming out soon, please pay attention to a county measure. This is something that the Board of Commissioners put on the ballot. It's County Measure 29170, which temporarily prohibits psilocybin-related businesses within unincorporated Tillamook County. We had the opportunity to bring this to the voters of Tillamook County. Psilocybin, also known as magic mushrooms, things of that nature, it's a hallucinogen. It does potentially have some ability to treat mental health disorders, depression, things of that nature. The science is still brand new with that, but there is an opportunity at this point to offer the growing, the manufacture, and psilocybin services within the state of Oregon, starting the 1st of next year. Unfortunately, this is the way it was supposed to happen. Unfortunately, OHA, Oregon Health Authority, was supposed to come up with rules and regulations concerning the growth, the manufacture, and psilocybin services. 2 years into this, OHA is just starting on putting their rules and regs together. That's the reason that your commissioners decided that we were going to bring this to the voters in Tillamook County. There are some counties that are just doing an outright ban. They're bringing that issue to the voters. Ours is not an outright ban. It's a temporary prohibition. And so we want to see the real rules and regs that come out of the Oregon Health Authority before we make a decision as to whether this is good or not. So please consider that carefully. Again, this is a hallucinogen, and the rules and regs from OHA are not yet developed. And we feel that it's best if we wait to see what those rules and regulations say before we actually allow it. We may have to bring it back to the voters again at a later point. But I would recommend, and this is again just a personal thought, I would think that yes, it is a good idea to put a temporary pause on the manufacture and psilocybin services that the state of Oregon has at this point allowed. So just a couple other things. We have over 4,400 pieces of legislation lined up for the upcoming long session in the state of Oregon. 4,400 pieces of legislation. We're going to be very busy looking at all of them, trying to see where the commissioners can make an impact on this at the state level through AOC, the Association of Oregon Counties. There are a couple that are going to offend, more than a couple, but the couple I'm very concerned about at this point affecting our dairy industry. Representative Gomberg mentioned dairy air. There is a movement afoot to kind of ban cows because of their flatulence that they put into the air. Doesn't make any sense to me. Also, new CAFO regulations, confined animal feeding operation regulations, are much more strict. And again, we need to take a very balanced look at anything we do that affects our natural resource-based industries. So believe me, the commissioners will be looking at these things very carefully and weighing in where we can. But most rural counties rely on natural resource-based industries, and it's very difficult for us to survive with more and more regulations, many of which just do not make sense. So with that, I appreciate everyone's time this morning. Let's move on to the city. City of Manzanita, Mike Scott.
Yes, good morning. I don't have anything to add today, thanks.
Thank you for being with us, Mayor Scott. City of Nehalem, do we have Melissa Thompson-Kiefer or anyone else from the city of Nehalem with us? How about the city of Wheeler? Do we have Mayor Doug Honeycutt or City Manager Mary Johnson? City of Rockaway Beach, Mayor Sue Wilson or any other city councilors from Rockaway Beach? City of Garibaldi, Mayor Tim Hall, are you with us? Anyone from the city of Garibaldi? City of Bay City, Mayor David McCall. Mayor?
Yes, good morning. This is Mayor McCall. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring, I don't have a specific update to the city of Bay City. We had our city council. Am I back?
Yeah, so Mayor McCall, I am sorry about that, but I'm not sure anybody else, but I lost your audio completely. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Sorry, yeah, a message just came through that I was muted. So,
I do hear you well now. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So what I was beginning to say is that, so I don't have any updates specific to Bay City. We had a regular council meeting last week, but last week I was able to attend a meeting, which my understanding was the first of such meetings ever, for the Library Foundation, the Library Board, and all the entities that have various branch libraries throughout the county. Because a couple of them are run by the cities, and the majority of them are actually run and upkept by 501c3 organizations in the communities. And it was a very collaborative meeting where the different entities were able to come together for the first time and talk about ways that we all look at supporting the library system and some ideas that we've had for how we go about maintaining these buildings and working together to make sure that our county-wide library system continues to operate and serve the citizens. So that was good, and we'll be meeting again in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor McCall. Appreciate that very much. Let's go to the city of Tillamook. City Manager Nathan George. Nathan, are you with us?
Good morning, Commissioner. I am. Can you hear me okay?
Good morning. Yeah, very great.
Wonderful. Thank you. It's good to be back. I was out last week under the weather. Excuse me. Still have some throat issues here, so if you have any problems hearing me, let me know, please. Yes, I had several things I wanted to go over now. It's been 2 weeks, so I got a little bit more than usual. First of all, I wanted to go over our meeting last night with the council meeting. We had a work session, and at that work session, we discussed, first of all, the public announcement about the, I don't get the word exactly right, but it's regarding the hazard mitigation plan, and we let people know they can go to the county to get more information on that. And we also gave some information to the public about our role in that. Also, we talked about council vision and priorities. And one of the things that we're going to be working on in the council is really working to define a vision for our community. And the council, I've asked the council to seek input from all of our other entities, from the county to the port to all the different entities that we'll be working on here in the near future. And then they'll be working on creating a vision for our city. And by a vision, I mean things like, for example, it could be we support tourism, or we want to have a nice, clean, sustainable future, big picture things that we want to put together so the staff can build a plan. Second of all, there was a question about a parking lot contract, which we looked at, and then we had an executive session last night. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was our police department, and I'm just going to blend in last week's and this week's with what's going on. So Chief Rao and Lieutenant Trox attended the initial kickoff meeting hosted by Sheriff Brown regarding brainstorming strategies to tackle those experiencing homelessness within Tillamook County. We are on to report that Lieutenant Trox was working with the Oregon Fallen Badge Foundation team of state law enforcement officers from Clackamas County, Eugene Police, and Lake Oswego Police, Oregon State Police, and the Portland Police Bureau to plan and execute statewide honor guard training. So far, law enforcement from Washington, Idaho, and Oregon have signed up for this training that will be in Eugene in November. Officer Neubauer, excuse me, is one of our newer officers, is doing well in his basic academy training. We receive weekly updates on his progress. Officer Olson successfully completed his PCOD, which is Police Career Officer Development Exam, and we have submitted a request to the Department of Public Safety Standards and Training for his basic police officer certification. Over the last 2 weeks, Chief Rao and our SRO School Resource Officer Olson conducted risk assessment walkthroughs through all the schools in the Tillamook School District, and Chief Rao will be preparing a presentation from the Tillamook School Board on November 14th of this year with the results. Something that's wonderful about that, having the in-house certifications and a ability to do this, we were able to provide this service to the school district for no cost, which saved them significant money and also creates a partnership. October 11th through the 17th for the police department, which is this last week, our monitoring public has remained busy in turn in keeping Officer Vanderhoff busy as well. He's our traffic enforcement officer. Between traffic crashes, speed enforcement, distracted driving, and seatbelt enforcement, he has remained busy to include a pursuit that ended safely with the driving taken into custody. That was one of the incidents that happened. Our community came together in a great fashion last week to raise money to support the Tillamook Shop with a Cop program. Thank you so much for everyone who came together to make this dinner fundraiser happen. Thank you to Terry Phillips and the Dutch Mill staff for their partnership. Sergeant Hollis is at the Department of Public Safety Standards and Training for supervisory training this week. We are proud and excited for Sergeant Hollis. Lieutenant Troxel met with our Tillamook County Housing Coordinator, Peter Starkey from CARE, and Sheriff Brown to further discussion on the next steps in providing the best services possible for community members struggling with housing insecurities. Chief Rao, Lieutenant Troxel, and our Public Works Acting Director, Sean Berger, attended the Tillamook County Fall-Winter Preparation meeting last week. The Police Department is in a good position, and as is the Public Works Department, with being fully staffed and prepared to respond as needed to anything that comes up. We've also been working very close with Randy Thorpe, which we appreciate his leadership. In the Public Works Departments, we have water setups for non-payments are scheduled at noon today. Water crews are busy prepping the intakes of the water plant for the first significant rain event that could happen this weekend. The sewer plant crew is going to be prepping the collection system, trouble spots, and lift stations for possible high flows. Staff will be in training on Wednesday and Thursday to maintain their state-required licensing as water operators. I wanted to mention that the week before last, myself, our mayor, and Mayor Burris, and Councilor Knopfsinger and Councilor Reynolds were able to attend the League of Oregon Cities conference, which was really good. I apologize. It was very good. We heard a lot of great sessions and a lot of great discussion. And the last thing I wanted to add is I always am announcing that we highly suggest that people sign up for our Service Line Warranties of America to get the water and sewer laterals, and you can also sign up for indoor plumbing. As I was able to meet with the company at the League of Oregon Cities Conference, they gave me a report on our city so far, and so I just wanted to give an overview here. So far, we've had 215 customers that signed up, and that's about 5% of all our homeowners. And so far, they've served 105 customers. There's been 3 claims, and so far, the city customers have saved just under $11,000, and that's just in 3 claims. And they have a 4.7 out of 5% customer satisfaction here in Tillamook. So that's $11,000 in only 3 claims. And once again, customers only have to pay less than $10 a month per service warranty. You can opt in and out anytime. And already $11,000 have not had to be paid out to our customers. This is all paid through the Service Line Warranties of America. They are an international company, and they have a lot of funding because they have a lot of cities. And a city like ours is just a drop in the bucket for them. So I, again, highly encourage anyone who has a home, especially if it's older than brand new, I would suggest we recommend that you look into getting a service line warranty for sewer and water, and you can also do indoor plumbing. That's all I have, Commissioner. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, as always, Nathan, for being with us. Appreciate your report. Last but certainly not least, let's go to South County. Do we have Doug Olson with us?
Good morning, Commissioner. I'm here.
Good morning.
Yes, it's absolutely a perfect fall day on the Oregon coast, at least in South Tillamook County, not a cloud in the sky. However, I guess that's going to change according to the weather. Nothing much to report other than there's some spots on the Nestucca River that look just like a fish hatchery. The fish are jumping all over the place, but they're not biting. And it looks like they're mostly coho or silver salmon. And I also saw yesterday an individual from Fish and Wildlife going around putting up signs saying that the coho catch is stopped. In other words, you can't keep a coho any longer, which we knew for some time it was a 2-day fishery during the fall. But anyway, that's all about the chain. So other than that, I don't have much to report. The chamber is quickly putting everything together for our fall banquet on Tuesday, December 6th. And more to come on that. We have a terrific program, and we'll be giving out our annual awards for Citizen of the Year, Volunteer of the Year, and Business of the Year, as we've done now for 20-some years. So we look forward to that. More to come on that one. So with that, Commissioner, thank you very much, and I guess I'll bring my raincoat out of storage and get it ready to go.
You always have to have that raincoat ready. You bet. Thank you, Doug. Okay, with that, I want to thank everyone for attending. attending our weekly community update call. But special thanks, KTIL, for broadcasting this community update live every Tuesday morning. We appreciate that so much. So with that, time being 8:55 a.m., we will adjourn this community update. Thank you, everyone.